Hello and welcome everybody to the Thing I Love Most show. And my lord, are we loving Tottenham today? I seriously have not come down. I'm so buzzing. It was an amazing night to be there. It was an amazing atmosphere to be a part of. Just over 70,000. I keep on watching the highlights on my phone, and I'm absolutely flying. So we thought we'd do a little special because we just wanted to talk about the game because it was just such an incredible event. And my first take on it was we were talking at half time having beers, and we were saying that we'd take 0-0 because we thought we'd be able to score over there. But we were just nervous of conceding over here and then it affecting obviously the tie in the reverse leg. We were having such a good conversation. It means I missed the actual Sun goal, which was slightly frustrating. But after that, what a performance! What a performance! On BT Sport, Rio Ferdinand was talking about they didn't really change much tactically, but maybe just sort of brought the wing backs in a little bit. And it wasn't really something that I could notice from where we were. But I'm sure there must have been some sort of tactical switch or just a little bit of a G-up or just, because there seemed to be more focus. They seemed to have a few more ideas. The first half, I found that basically it was very much the centre-backs having ball and it was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Hardly had any much incisive passing moving forward. Moura obviously had a good chance. Eriksen had a decent chance. I was worried about Aurier, if I'm honest. And we can come to him.
Especially after the yellow card.
Oh, my word. We can come to him in a bit because that guy is chalk and cheese. If you can literally just create a footballer who's the most frustrating character, I think it must be him, because that cross for Jan was just absolutely incredible. But up to that point, he had a couple of good attacking sort of influences, little flick on for Foyt with the run, and then a little inside pass to Eriksen. So he was doing good things, but then he was also never tracking back. Sissoko was covering him all the time, and it was like, what are you doing? You've just lost the ball when you're jogging. And it was just like, I couldn't believe it. And then he pulls that cross out the bag. So it's like, what'd you do with him? How can you be mad at someone who's got such potential and can do that, but then do the rest of it? It was like, it was mental. It was like I'm torn. I was a torn man. And obviously, Super Jan just having the game of his life. Incredible performance from him. Sissoko again was up there for man of the match for me. Just tireless running. He really, really is just carrying the team over the line at the moment. It seems like incredible work rate. As I said, covering for Aurier so much, back and forth. Really, really incredible. I was disappointed with Moura. I thought Moura could have done a little bit more, which was, annoying because that was a big opportunity for him, I think, and he's still not at the level we require, I think, for the team, which is frustrating. So I'm joined this week, before I introduce them, as you can see them if you're watching on YouTube, but I'm joined by Tim Leonard once again, all the way from NYC, baby. I think we do something like that. Oh, I don't know. Hi, Tim. How are we doing? You all right?
No, good. How are you? Like you, I'm buzzing after yesterday.
Oh, I know. It's wicked. And we've actually just seen the Scum lose as well. So it's been a great,
better.
Great couple of days.
A great, fantastic 24 hours here.
Absolutely. And then we've got Leigh Curtin, representing from down south in England. How you doing, Leigh?
I'm very good. Very, very good.
Wicked. Okay, Leigh, so I'm going to start with you. Obviously, I spoke about my sort of worries at half time and how I was assessing the game first half and how I then assessed it second half. When you sat there, you watched it at home, I believe, yeah? Yeah, when you sat there at home, were you worried, firstly? And then if you were to get offered 0-0, would you have taken it? And then did you expect anywhere near the performance that we gave second half?
Well, first of all, I don't think anybody's seen the second half performance coming. And I was worried for the first half an hour, really. I felt we gave them too much respect. We sat back off them far too deep. And I think the idea was that we draw them in and we tried to hit them on the counter with Sonny and Moura. And unfortunately, Foyt and Sanchez, they're not comfortable They're not comfortable on the ball, and anybody's watching them ain't comfortable. I'm certainly not watching Foyth, Sanchez, and Aurier. They're 3 out of the 4. I'm not comfortable watching them 3 trying to ping a ball around between them. They make me nervous. So any problems that were seen in the first half, we probably invited half of them on ourselves, for sure. And then afterwards, it was just a case of believing. I mean, Jadon Sancho, he had a half an hour, 35 minutes where he just kind of got at us. He ran at us. I mean, he gives Sanchez a torrid. I ain't seen anybody turn him inside out like that. You know, he twisted and I think Sanchez paid 70 quid to get back in at one point. So he done a proper job on him, and you could see, he's a very talented lad. But with players like that, if you stand off them and give them the first 2 yards to stand you up and run at you and unbalance you, they're going to do that to you. And we let them do that. So that was my initial concern. And it got to half time and I thought, it can't get any worse. We can only step it up a little bit. And at which point I was still going for, I think, my prediction of 1-1. I thought we'd come out, we'd just up our game a little bit, we'll nick a goal. But they looked sure to kind of, score. And in saying that, they didn't create many chances in that first half. They really didn't. I know they had the better of the ball, and I know they ran at us and got into dangerous areas. Hugo's save again was, fantastic save, kept us in the game. But, credit to Foyth at that point, because he got enough on that header to take the power out of it. So fair play, credit where it's due. But we came out the second half and we tucked Aurier in a little bit. We pushed Jan up a touch more, and we just suffocated the out ball to Sancho. And it kind of goes to show you, as much as we gave them so much respect, their out ball and their get out clause was a ball to a 19-year-old. It really was. It was because he was getting out behind us and down the lines, down the side of us, and he was the one creating the hassle. We suffocated the out ball to him, and actually, in the end, suffocated him out of the game. We took him out of the game. It's not that he just faded, he faded to black. He didn't fade to black. He didn't, he just didn't fade away.
Yeah.
We just stopped the ball getting to him. And in turn, we exposed his weakness. And that's him not tracking back. So all of a sudden, Jan's like, well, you know what, I'm off ski here. And Jan just grabbed the game. He grabbed the game by the horns. And he's been doing that for the last 2-3 home games. The last couple of games at Wembley I've seen, he's keeps making these marauding runs through the middle and everyone's going, Jesus, Jan. So that goal was definitely coming. I mean, he had a right-footed effort earlier that went soaring off into like row J or something. So no, he took control of the game. The tactics were to kind of push up on them, take the respect away from them, stop the out ball and impose ourselves on them. So we got the goal. The goal coming as quick as it did was was superb. It was massive. Hell of a pass, hell of a ball, great finish. And after that, they were shocked. They were the ones that looked a little bit stunned. And we just kept pushing. We actually just kept pushing. For the first time in a long time, we didn't sit back, and go, right, well, let's control it from here. Let's go sideways. Let's go out. Let's go back in. Let's go sideways. We actually just kept pushing at them. And it was so good to see.
It's interesting you say that, because actually in the interview afterwards, Jan said that after going 1-0 up, he felt that Dortmund were happy to take 1-0, and that he didn't feel there was much pressure coming on. So then they just thought, all right, well, if they're just going to sit back, then we are going to go for it. And that's obviously, that's what they did in more ways than one. So, Tim, what was your take?
Well, I mean, you talk about 10 or 15 minutes of the first half that Spurs just really started to get on the front foot a little bit more and started to attack and carry the ball forward and do more things that didn't necessarily result in any great chances, but the ball was in Dortmund's half of the field, and our lads were the ones who were controlling the ball, controlling play, pushing forward and actually trying to do something. Whereas like Leigh was saying, the first half hour, it was more like we were saying, all right, come at us and let's see if we can do something on the counter, but the counter wasn't working. So at some point, Potts changed things up and said, look, we need to move forward. We need to attack these guys more, because they're not doing anything that we need to be scared of. So let's start moving forward. And in the second half, especially getting the goal so early from Sonny. I mean, first I have to say the cross from Jan on that goal was scrumptious. I mean,
Son's movement as well. If you see, he goes to the defender and he sprints.
Bolted, yeah,
you
bolted to the back
rarely
post.
see that where someone actually sees that space, but he actually he makes that 2 yards. He really actually does. So to then be in the position to then control the shot as it comes over is high quality.
Exactly, but I think Jan's cross might have just hit a couple of hairs on the top of the defender's head as it was coming down to Sonny's boot, and all Sonny had to do. I mean, I'm not saying what Sonny had to do was easy, but the cross was sublime.
Yeah,
and Sonny put it away, and the goalie had no chance. So that was fantastic. Who said it didn't seem like Dortmund felt much pressure or felt much urgency, that they never said, all right, well, I guess we can go back home and 1-0 isn't such a bad result. And obviously that was their death, because to get the 2 goals late like we did, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're in the quarterfinals. And I know that's a bold thing to say.
Yeah,
I understand it. I understand history and everything else, but I'd be absolutely amazed if we're not through the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I would also be absolutely distraught. But yeah, I think I mean, like I said, I mean, I think we can score in any game, and having Kane and Ali back, that even compounds that thought. So I think we will score over there, and yeah. They've got to score an absolute hatful. So I think you're right. It's still going to be nervy though. It's just the way we are. Just what we do. We just it's how we live our lives. It's why got no hair left.
They'll go up 2-0, and then we'll get a goal in the 85th minute.
Yeah.
And then because we'll have to have a little bit of the heart palpitations, and have to go through all the sweats and everything else.
I'm literally getting them now. Why are we even talking about it? Can we just move on to the Burnley game? No, it's an incredible achievement. An incredible achievement. It really, really is. And I think, they deserve so much credit for that. And obviously Llorente coming on and grabbing a goal, which I think is his only goal coming on as a sub in 34 games or something ridiculous like that. Big Bad Don was saying earlier on in the WhatsApp. It's crazy that he's got that stat, but great for him to come on and be so influential. I wanted more of the players to go over and celebrate with him. I felt it was a bit on his own. It was a bit like, hey guys.
I've said it before tonight when he scored the own goal and they all just kind of turned their back on him. I was like, somebody go and give him a hug and tell him it's all right, it's okay.
Yeah.
But Eriksson made a big deal about it, which was always nice. And then Jan actually mentioned, and Sonny both mentioned after they scored their goals, that they both didn't even bother to go and congratulate the guys who gave them the assist.
Right.
So Sonny's like, yeah, I said sorry to Jan because I ran the other way. And Jan said, yeah, I didn't even run over to Serge. I just ran off the other direction. So I think sometimes we probably kind of read a little bit too much into it. But, I think looking at it, there's a unit there now that there's a little bit of belief. I think the boys that maybe didn't have a bit of belief are now looking at somebody like Llorente and going, actually, his contributions are there for us to see. 9 goals and assists in 9 games. Mm-hmm. He's done something. He's contributed something here. So he's a part of the team, whether we like it or not. But so there's a unit there, and it's nice. And I think Moura. I think you touched on Moura earlier. I've said about Moura in the past. For me, for him to be effective, he has to be out wide.
Yeah.
He has to be out wide. I think playing him through the middle, it's not that he's got a bad touch. I think he just moves at such a pace that he just runs into the next man. And when you're in the middle of the park, they're going to stack up on you. You're talking about 4 or 5 men. You go past 2 midfielders and then the central defender steps out onto you. Mm-hmm. He needs to be out on the wing. And I think he probably needs to be coming in off the wing if we're going to see any real results with him. But listen, there was a time last year or before he signed when we were screaming out for somebody like him to be added to our squad. So he's part of the squad, and he's got a bit of. He has got the pedigree. He ain't in form, and you're right. I don't think he's up with everybody else, but I think to see the best of him and to give him that chance, I would keep him out wider.
I think I don't think he's strong enough. I just think on the ball, I think he just gets brushed off far too easily. I know he's not a big guy. I'm not expecting him to suddenly become a Hulk, but I just think that we're the Champions League and the English Premier League. They're tough, and you don't get the time on the ball like you have in other leagues. And because of that fact, you need to make sure that when you do have that first touch, you know what to do with it before you get barged or before. And I just think sometimes he's technical, but it's not. There's just something missing from his game. But also his confidence. You can see that he needs a goal. And he's been very effective in the other Champions League games. Obviously, he got the equaliser in Barcelona, and he got a goal in PSV. So he's got the pedigree for us this season in the Champions League, and he's been vital. So not knocking him, but I just think more from him.
Yeah, no, sorry, don't cut you off. Let's not forget he was a post whipped away from an absolute cracker last night.
Yeah,
he took the paint off the post, and that could have been a game changer right there, even for him.
Sure.
So it's in a blink of an eyelid, that can be football for you sometimes. So I think keep him out wider. I think his touch, and I don't think his control is close enough for him to be in the middle of the park. It's too crowded. Keep him out wide and create from out there where there's a bit more space.
And also let him get a little head of speed up. Let him dribble and let him get going, as opposed to trying to get a pass, turn, and then have to beat one or two guys. And like you said, I mean, his touch, it's just a tiny bit off right now. But like Leigh said, if you're in the middle of the park and your touch is a tiny bit off, there's going to be one or two or three guys there waiting to say thank you very much for the ball, and we're going the other way now. So that's been more his problem. That one shot, had that had a little bit of swerve on it, Mora now has a nice bit of confidence to him, because that was a cracker of a shot.
Yeah,
I think as well. I'm hoping that the fact that Aurier did contribute in such a way will give him some confidence, because you could tell last night that he did want to do better, but he just didn't have that desire to really, really push on, which he needs to have in that right wing back role. But with Trippier out of form, I'm more than happy for him to try it. If Poch seems to think he's better than Kyle Walker-Peters, I'm not sure if that's correct myself, but I still think that it would have been a good thing for him to be able to be involved like that. And I'm sure that his teammates would have bigged him up for it. And they would have said, more like that. Do you know what I mean? That's what you can do. That's why don't just do the little Trippier little pass backs down the line again. Drive and do that, because you've got the talent to do it. He has got it in his locker, and that's just the most frustrating thing for him. I can't think of any other player like it.
No, and I feel sorry for Walker-Peters. Not kind of in the mix there, and didn't even make the bench in that last night. And I don't think, I look at Walker-Peters, and I know some people probably still say young and got time and got stuff to learn. I just don't think after the Barcelona experience and after his World Cup experiences at the youth level, I don't think any game's too big for Walker-Peters. I genuinely don't. I just think he just needs to play. He's got to make the odd error if you're coming in after every 10, 11, 12 games and you're thrusting straight into action. I just don't. I look at him and think he would learn so much just being involved. So
yeah, but even the mistake he did make against Barcelona, he still recovered. He got booked, and then he was taken off after about 60 minutes, but he was still had a good game after that one mistake. And as we know, everyone makes mistakes. And then also he came on against Bournemouth. He started against Bournemouth, and he had three assists in the first half. Recently, he's been played out of position. He's been played on left wing back against Palace in the cup with Nkudu, which was obviously, as we know, the wrong choice of player. And then he brought him on the other day for Rose or Trippier, whoever it was, can't remember. And again, it was you're playing him on the left and he's right-footed. So it's frustrating, Tim.
Well, I'm sure he's a little bit frustrated as well. I mean, because he's had moments where like you said, 3 assists in the first half in that one game where he's shown what kind of player he can be and shown those flashes of brilliance. But it's a matter of being consistent, and that's in the Premier League level. That's the biggest issue for a player. You have to be consistent. You can't just show a flash one game where you have a magnificent game, and then the next game you're complete crap, and that's not going to cut it. So that, I think, but I think that the other issue, the flip side of that, is that you can't do that without game time. And Llorente is a perfect example of that. So many people slag him off and then say, oh, he's terrible. Why do we have him? Sell him, get rid of him because he doesn't do anything. But how much game action has he gotten? And now in the last few weeks with Harry Kane sidelined, here comes Llorente, and he's a lot of people might not like his game. He's not quick. He's not flashy. He just kind of is a plodding, big guy who's just, kind of sits in the middle of the 18-yard box. But get him some service, and he'll actually make something happen for you. And it took you saw when he first came on, after Kane got hurt, he looked terrible that first game because he hadn't had any game. You can practice all you want, but you need to be out there in a game experience. Now he looks comfortable. I mean, look at him yesterday. What was he on for 7 minutes? He scores a goal. So, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be the answer to our problems because obviously as soon as Harry Kane comes back, Llorente will be back on the bench. But for what he has done for this club since Harry Kane was hurt, it's almost like a new signing. Because
his goal was...
Here's production from a guy that we never expected to get production from.
And his goal last night was proof that you could see how his confidence has come back and his sharpness, because he didn't just stand there and hit it. His movement, he left his marker and moved on to the other man. He showed I'm back here. I'm confident enough. I know how to work myself around the 18-yard and the 6-yard box. And it was goal as well. Don't underestimate it. I know he's 3 yards out and he's flicked his header in, but he's come off his own defender onto another one, moved him out of the way and got his flick on it. So there's something that we never seen before. We was only talking 2 weeks ago, Nolh, when he was saying it's hit him on the head, it's hit him on the shoulder. And
he did that on Saturday as well. Did his Sunday against Leicester, he missed a sitter. And everything just seemed to be out a little bit, but you can see it. The way he dribbled against Leicester, he took the ball down and went on a little 5-6 yard dribble before laying it off nicely. So you can see it's coming to him now. Probably just a shame that it's coming just as Harry says, I'm fit again. Well, I'm happy to have him back. Good options from the bench, it's all good.
Listen, 100%.
So obviously, we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves, but are we going to win the Champions League?
Shh. It's a secret.
Wait.
Come on.
Didn't I get grief for saying we were going to the quarterfinals?
You totally did.
Now you have us lifting the cup.
I'm negative. I'm Mr. Negative when it comes to outlook. Not, it's just, I am curious who we might play in the next round. Oh man, I can't believe it. I was going to maybe go to Dortmund, but now I'm going to wait and save my holiday and save my money and go to the next round because we're there. Oh God, if we get necked out now, please don't ever play this to us. Oh God, it's not good.
I'll just wait then.
To be downloaded and this is just terrible. What are we doing? This is terrible.
It's good thinking. Save the money for the next round.
Yeah, we put together a good performance for the first part of the leg, and we turned up. We did a good job, and we have to kind of mention that Poch's awareness of and tactical nous in terms of, we often criticise him for lack of sometimes. He didn't change the personnel. He just changed the way, a couple of little tweaks on positional sense, how to shut the ball off to Sancho and move 10 yards up the pitch and play from there. And that, that's got to go. That's got to be mentioned. So from the management down to the players who started to the subs that came on, they put together a hell of a job last night. And we're just showing, we should be in the last eight. We should be in the last eight. And when you look around, is there anybody really to be scared of when you look at it? I'm not saying, don't get me wrong.
Madrid should have been beaten last night. Ajax had so many chances.
Exactly. And they're getting thumped, not thumped, but they're getting pulled all over their league, Madrid. Do you know what I mean? There's no runaway games with them anymore because, give the ball to Christian. Those days are over. So it can be. You've got to look at it and go, listen, if you turn up and do the right thing on the right day, you've got a chance of progressing in this final, this Champions League final stages. You've got a chance.
I would also like to. I would also like to remind the people who are listening and watching this. We're talking about a team that everybody and anybody condemned as they were done in the first round. They're not making it out of the group. It's never going to happen. You're done. I mean, how many people were on that bandwagon where it was Spurs are out? There's no way they can get to the next round. And here we are now talking about them. I'll say that for you, Nolh.
Yeah, please.
Going to the quarterfinal. So how much have Spurs accomplished in this competition and matured along the way?
Definitely.
Where they got the result at Barcelona that they needed. And yes, did they get a little bit of help? Yes, they did. But now, yesterday, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, and to do that without two of our top players, if not our two top players, it is just absolutely remarkable. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, especially the second half, we bossed Dortmund all over the field.
Yeah.
Or pitch.
I think we are looking a lot more mature, and actually looking at the amount of Champions League games that both teams have played, our side actually had played more, which is obviously quite interesting to see, because obviously we're not necessarily a Champions League side, as you might say, but in comparison to the two teams, we had more Champions League experience, and I think that showed in the second half. And I think we have learned from those games recently. We have learned from even the ones, the Juventus home defeat. We learned to sort of just be a bit more aware and react to the other team, which we didn't do on the day. But we still came back, obviously in the first leg against Juve, and obviously this competition, some amazing performances to get. I mean, the Barcelona match was just incredible, and to get over the line against Inter and PSV when it did look like it was all dead and buried was testament to our team and the management. So let's see how we go. Let's just all calm down a little bit, and then we'll have a chat. It's actually actually my birthday that day as well. It's played on my birthday, March the 5th. So it's going to be one horrendous birthday if it doesn't happen.